naturally with spirit of matter. And I want to thank all of my subscribers for watching. And I don't over promote this channel, but you can like and subscribe. And this is going to be a Libra Eclipse video. I was thinking to record, and I was quite peaceful, and I was saying, oh, well, I don't have much to say because I've been on the IG, and yeah, it's been intense. Venus was squaring Pluto and conjuncting my natal Pluto, and a lot of stuff happening, and preparing for season 2 for water expands upon cooling and the essence, and just a lot of stuff. Okay. Um, so yeah. And right now, this is not a Mars day, it's actually a Saturn night. And this is Sol hour. Ascendant is 13 degrees Gemini. And the midheaven is on Deneb Algadi. So let's call on Deneb Algadi for the beautiful equity forces. It's the beautiful wealth redistribution and wealth in all forms. Okay, it's protection, it's guidance. I remember when I was in the Netherlands, I got a lot of info about business and business making and how to treat people in the business and so on. When I was working with Dana Balgari, but I also got in where to steal from and why from there, or why do people steal. I got in really important information. And in the Netherlands, Aquarius would be my second house. So it's in my 12th in Israel, and the natal chart still stays, but that would be my second house. And indeed, I was in shelter and I was giving readings, which is, yes, but I was also ruled by Saturn. And that was very humbling experience. I thought I was going to die every night. So we got on Dana Balgadi for guidance. Moon is in Cancer, and it's releasing from the square to Neptune, but applying to a trine for Saturn. Very slowly applying because it will conjunct Mars. Mars right now is 11 degrees Cancer, and ruling Rahu. Okay, so Moon is in a good place. Sol is in Libra. Sol is not a good place in Libra, and the Moon is squaring it, but we know Sol is fallen in Libra, fallen in the scales. Why? Because the Sun is the center through which it's kind of like it's the center of the gravity and in intelligence. And in Libra, the Sun is being judged. Okay, the Sun is being compared against, which is not a natural place for the Sun to be or for anybody to be. Not the scales of trade and not the scales of justice. And so right now, Sun is approaching Ketu. Venus ruling the Ketu, Lilith, and Sun, but also Uranus. Yes, but also Uranus is in Scorpio. And Venus ingress into Scorpio, we know, is intense. She's going to accompany us for the eclipse. And the eclipse in Libra will have Mercury and Venus, Mercury 11 degree, Mercury in Venus 11 degree Scorpio. Yes, or Mercury 11 degree Libra. No, Mercury will be 11 degree Libra, or already Scorpio. Let's take a look at the eclipse. Why are we talking like this? Let's take a look at the eclipse again. And the reason what prompted me to press record, I heard people saying, well, there's a solar eclipse. So people saying, oh, it's no opportunity in relationship. And immediately I recalled a bit because Ketu, it's a solar eclipse with Ketu in the sign of relationships, okay? So why did I say I recoiled a bit? Because it's not no opportunities when the South Node is involved. Yes, what are we watching? No, we're watching this one. We need October. And solar eclipse. Oh, immediately I get all the energies around banking system. For me, Libra is 8th house. But no, Mercury and Venus are going to be in 11 degree Scorpio. So when I heard people talking about new opportunities in love and so on, so yes, we definitely are purging a lot. And solar, solar eclipse is giving something new as well, with Ketu. And so I'd like to tell you a story, okay? Because in our community, there was some person posting the chart of when I met, I don't know, the person that they're dating. And I see the chart and I see, okay, very strong Ketu soul. And I guess your past life lovers, there is some karma to unfold, and Venus was squaring Pluto. Which of course we do not like for beginning of relationships. You actually, this is not even my teaching, is not Krasitastiv. In this case, it is Ksenia Moore. And Ksenia Moore would pay attention to when you meet the person. If Venus is hard aspect in Pluto, if you just met, okay, this is going to be a relationship where power, taboo, and transformation are in frictional relations with love. So usually with Venus, Pluto, if you have hard contacts in your natal chart like me, then you would look for the sublime, okay, for the harmonious. The harmonious can bring you out of the deep well of sorrow. Um, but this is when we talk grow with love, okay? I don't know chart for when I had with my psychologist that you heard some about in this channel, but one of that, when I left, I said, well, no, we should grow with love. And grow with love is something that when you think about Pluto's transformation, not the only growth, okay, also the moon, and Venus as love language, there should be harmony between these two. If it's not in your natal chart, then the relational chart should bring this. Even right now, I'm doing this reading in astroseek.com. The person who founded the astroseek.com, okay, Peter, the Peters in my life, yes, but this person carries a natal stamp for Venus trine Pluto, and I love doing the readings here because it's given me something that I don't have in my chart. I have the hard aspect. It's that dredging up from the well, you can see relations and you can grow with love. So Venus on this eclipse will be not harshly aspect in Pluto, which is important. It's good. That being said, when there is eclipse with Ketu, what is Ketu? It's the purgatory, and there's a dissonance with Ketu. Receive teachings. You want to watch Lada's teacher. This is Ernst Wilhelm. And Ernst Wilhelm, when he talks about Ketu, he's an expert on Rao and Ketu. He mentions this dissonance where Ketu is both where we are generous in life. Okay, it's where we care less about the material manifestation and more about being generous. Okay, I have Ketu in Sagittarius, who is extra generous, but funnily enough, it's also where the soul has been. Funnily enough, where we put the biggest fight. Think about the Ketu Capricorns in my life, and I have met some Ketu Capricorns. These people, some of them are survivors of expendable children. Okay, if they went through a Holocaust, they would survive. They would live. Whatever you have to do, to kill a person, have to rape a person, have to torture a person, they would go up the ladder. And yet, Ketu, just in that place, can be very generous. Okay, so think about what accompanied me during the Me Too, which was, and although it does move, okay, it was not about sexual harassment, this, that. Okay, it's like you set the boundaries and you go back into your sexual essence. Yeah, that's why am I doing Essence of Desire for Slay Zone 2? Why on earth would a person be in that state to begin with? Well, that's because of the cults. They do it on purpose to interfere with the natural fertility, joy, and essence of life. Okay? So when we talk about Ketu, it's both a place where we're very generous, and I remember a teaching of Vlada Duncheva where she held her hands up high like the Ketu, and she said, we receive energy, receive downloads, receive wisdom. When you see the ancient goddesses or sun gods and sun goddesses in Egypt, you have like the Ketu symbol. Okay, the Ketu symbol with the soul or whichever planet in it. So Ketu is holding the wisdom of the planets. In a solar eclipse, of course, the wisdom of the sun will change perspective. And I think I like to mention in that regard another Libra person, and that is Yair Tribelski. Okay, he's a famous Israeli astrologer. It's very poetic, so it's difficult for him to translate his work into English. But when he talks about eclipses, he says, I don't find them to be too significant. It's just it's a change of how you look at things. And I was like, yay. That's everything. And funnily enough, he's doing astrology, solar astrology. His expertise is to look. I did this for Puff Daddy. When I gave the reading for Puff Daddy, I used the technique, not fully the technique, okay, you have to learn it with Yair, but the technique of Yair, which is looking at the sun, at the moon, and their perspective as the mother, father, and so on. And I felt all energies around me. It's like, this is too invasive. Yes, I did it for Puff Daddy when he was accused of human trafficking. But yes, but this is powerfully invasive. Okay, so we talk about the Leo, Pluto people. This is yes, powerful thing. So I did want to talk about Ketu relationships, because when you have the South Node with someone, okay, in your chart, it is coming from the past. You have a past together. Okay, you can read into my energy which energies adjoin, and those energies that love to adjoin whenever I do this podcast or whenever I speak about certain topics. And some people generally, you have a past with this person, and that's very powerful, it's very deep, and you're gonna feel it. Okay, you feel that you are familiar, that you know each other, that you maybe care deeply about each other. Okay, if you don't know what was the past. And so Ketu relationships are you were here before and you are here now. But even deeper, it is a place where you're both very generous, but could also put up the biggest fight. Okay? Ketu relationship could be with someone says, I want this person. But well, you have to bring in the Ketu wisdom and the generosity, and to go towards your Rahu and really understand, okay, is this Rahu? Is this going forward in this life? Now Mars, the ruler of Rahu, okay, is in square relations. This eclipse applies to square Mars. This tension between the future and the past. Who you were, did you care deeply about this person, and perhaps both of you want to fight for this relationship. It's like a deep hug. And Rahu, where it's going, there's tension. Not every Ketu relationship will proceed to Rahu. And so the letting go, although Ketu asks us to let go, can be challenging. Because you deeply care. Also, Ketu is where you lean backwards. Where you lean backwards to someone, you lean into a warm embrace of someone, and And that's the person that you lean into. And so when you have, let's say, Ketu and Rahu relationships, Ketu Rahu is the person that you're leaning back on and that you're moving forward with. When you move forward in your life, you see this person. When you lean backwards in your life, you see this person. Okay? And so you can have connections that are both round Ketu, and you can have connections that are Ketu related. This eclipse can about to be both purging, but because it's new, can bring in Ketu relations, where the Rahu, where the direction of the relation is at square with Ketu. It doesn't mean relationship not gonna last, because the ruler of Mars is with Ketu. Now, what is with Rahu? It's Neptune. Neptune on 28 degrees, degree of moon, according to Nikola Stojanovic. And if you watch my earlier episode, which I uploaded for Water Expands Upon Cooling, I call it Cold Case Disney. And it is not an episode per se, it is more like a stream of consciousness notes. And I noticed that when I posted something in relation to this, it was 28 degrees midheaven and ascendant, and descendant was Neptune, 28 degrees, degree of moon. And moon, of course, for 22. But the degree of moon, so the Neptune retrograde on degree of moon with the conjunction with Rahu, it's not tight conjunction, can give us dreamlike quality and creation of a dream. The conjunction is hard aspect. Okay, I can speak for my personal life. I tend to expandable children, and you know the soul essence of people, of what they had to do in this life. The soul essence is existing, and you have the juxtaposition of coziness and knowing of what person is supposed to perpetuate in this life. And for my role is to stop it. No expandable children. And it's not necessarily a conflict of interest, right? Because it's not conflict of interest, it's essence of soul. And the juxtaposition of what the people had to do in this life, whether fending for, whether perpetuating, all. And the coziness feelings is something that, okay, from when you talk about Ketu relationships, they bring you back to you in a way, because this is where you lean back on, it's your past. So memories can come from some people from other lives, from some people for this life, for your child, where you were, your life, your ancestors' life. Okay, for me, it's 8th house is very powerful, but whichever Libra is coming from, with Ketu, an ancestry line, a past life, an ancestry, not just blood ancestry. And you might not even understand what is it. Okay? So I want you to not be surprised when with the relationships that come right now to your life, and Venus with Mercury on 11th degree, it's a very Uranian degree, is also associated with part of the things, suicide. and you know that my opinions about suicide. Um, so yes, of course there is purging, but pay attention to the degree of Venus. Venus is in Scorpio, okay? Mars is squaring, okay, this eclipse. There is tension, there is something that what you hold in is almost impossible, tension of the soul, because the soul essence and the soul contact is in juxtaposition with something. And so when you lean back, find yourself with that soul essence, with that embrace. You go forward, there's friction. And the friction of values and Mars. A lot has been said about Mars. Mars is the penis, Mars is the blood, Mars is the bloodshed. Mars is that Mars doesn't shed blood, but only for to protect and fend for, unless Mars energy was inverted. Mars's direction in life. The water breaks, a baby is born. That's in Aries, that's Mars. Innovation. The telos is to go forward, and this telos is ruled. Okay, for past. There is a Back to the Future element here. Back to the Future was the name of my thesis proposal on philosophy of medicine. But you know, it's not the same future. We're not here to make the same life. Probably are to do something different this time, like perhaps abolishing a 9 millennia pedophilia cult. And this Mars is also ruling Venus, and there is a reception or a loop that is going on here that's frictional. So when you go forward, you go into Neptune. And people say Neptune is delusion. Neptune is reality. The reality is that the soul essence has been with you. The soul essence is with you and giving you a warm hug when you lean back. If you lean forward, the breaking of the what of something to be born here can entail that we lose some leaders, lose some judges. Not just male, not just female. Unfortunately, can lose some children. Some reporters, authors. People to do with the welfare. Okay? It doesn't mean death necessarily, but it can. And what's coming to completion is understanding that this is done with grace to the essence of the soul. Children should not be tortured. Children should not be, and it's not if you point it to a flag, you're not at the essence. Mercury and Venus in Scorpio, they point at the essence of something. Uranus is on a go, 26 degrees. Whether I'll go is minimal or not, it is an eclipse. Okay? I've seen fortunate things happen with Algol Minima as well. Eclipse is eclipse. Essence of desire, the beginning on the working on the notes. So which oils will go into it and the right thing to do with them happen during Algol Minima. I've seen powerful, powerful, powerful things happen, not just bad. It's fated. Eclipse just means fated. We don't do talismans on Algol Minima or eclipses. But that's it. So yes, definitely big soul connections, deep soul connections are being both purged or are coming to your life or are going out of your life, because when we think about this as Ketu, we understand we are purging something that is a deep, deep, powerful soul connection and is going to purgatory stage. Okay, if this is your long-term relationship, it doesn't mean you're going to break up, but it definitely means it's going to purge some baggage, and that baggage has to do with Lilith. The wife that would not be subdued. She's not the wife that is, she's not your slave or maiden, or no. Lilith is equal to you. She's not God, and she's not above you, and she's not beneath you. That's the Lilith story. Okay? She's beside you. She's not beside you like your shade. She's beside you like another shining, bright person beside you. Anything that's not on that frequency, poof! Whether it is relationships that end right now, and they may end suddenly, or that begin. And a part of the soul journey is that, very much like this male, by the way, writer, that described this equal relationship as, okay, she was not made to walk in front of me, she was not made to walk behind me, but to walk beside me. And this is something that we all crave, because this is where we have true connection. Okay? All the cult has to go. All the cult, and cult is not just a place that you go to or people that you see. All the cult structure has to go. Both the cult where women subdued men and called it feminism, is not, and never was. Okay? Oh, a man is like a child, then why are you sleeping with him? Unless you are two children that are also adults. But also not for the other. Okay? If you understand this about the karmic connection, where you stand in relation to this, soul essence, we are all beautiful. We're all God. We're all divine. We're all love. We go back to love. We come from love, we go back to love. That tremendous, if you understood the amount of energy that's been invested into turning people into even child offenders or perpetrators or all of this, and I said this is survival of okay, you would go back to believing in humanity, because I understand that there's so much energy and the soul always wants to go back to love. And you need it even if you have same-sex relations. The people who get that have better relations. It's not because one is the feminine, one is the masculine. No. It's respect for life. Respect for life is not whether you have abortion or not. Respect for life is where you have respect for that which is alive within you. We all process things. So whether what the changes in your relations are going to be in regarding to that, because this is Lilith in Libra, balancing of that equity. And Lilith's goal is equity, okay? Not to walk before you, not behind you, but beside you. Not to be above you, not beneath you, but with you. Okay? This is also for where we derive that we don't have sex with children as adults. It's Lilith. That's why children can't have sex with adults. They can touch themselves, they can celebrate sexuality, they can this, they can that. Okay, unfortunately, sometimes they hurt each other, so need to be taught of to say yes, no, maybe, yes, and of course, not to go where I shouldn't go, but they cannot have sex with adults because for that Lilith is not in position where they can walk beside you. Unless give them a bank account, give them a house, give them a land, and that they manage it, okay, well, but it's not okay because child needs to have childhood is for a reason. It's natural. Just like gay relationships is natural. In nature, you see gay relationships. If you observe, what's unnatural is all these things that they put into people so that they will have this weird division. We're human species. We don't come here to enslave each other or anything like that. Now, what's going to come up in your relationships, whether you're going to purge something, is because of this. Your each other's level or ability or place, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, of where you're able to do this together. If yes, then what is going to be purged is your traumas, darling. It's still frictional here. Okay, Venus and Mercury still in a very volatile degree in Scorpio. One planet that can aid is a fixed star, Alpaca. It's a bit far. It's not tight orb. It's fixed star Alpaca. But this is for when you don't have necessarily. Well, he can help because it can help with the discerning. Ketu is still close. 6 degrees is still close to where? To Zendaya. If you watched the video for Lada, for the lunar eclipse that was in Libra on Zendaya. And Zendaya is where we go through a process of where we've been in people-pleasing positions, and we go and purge that. So wherever was not authentic, this is why astrologers are excited about it, because it's like, hey, you're not going to be inauthentic, but there's something very powerful that's happening. This juxtaposition, okay? For me, it's happening in a very extreme way. I have Venus opposing Pluto in my Pluto square. What's more juxtaposition than tending to expandable children and feeling that coziness with the people that perpetuate the crimes and fend for them? Knowing that the goal is to abolish for this entire praxis, okay? Some people go through it the weird way. For you, very likely it's less extreme, but it's still going to be this very, very challenging. Even the less extreme is very challenging. Okay? You meet exact person where maybe what they doing in life is what you're doing in life. Okay? If you're a man and you used to, this is my expertise, this is that, this is that, you meet a woman who's your counterpart, equal to you. If you're a woman, same. You might meet, oh, I this, I that, I do this, I do that. You meet men that can be counterpart. Now, how do you both process for this? Can be something not bad, where you, when you're true to yourself, you see, I'm not people pleasing here, and then either you break apart, okay? Because you can't force yourself on another, your worldview and so on. You can open a door, and you can make a path that if a person gets out, then they have a place to stay. Okay, housing first, open dialogue. That's all you can do. You can also close the door when these things are perpetuated. This door doesn't. We don't let that happen to children. It's the open door and the closed door. You create a structure. Okay? And so also the new relationship that you meet will have this Lilith theme, and Libra's wisdom. Libra is about balancing. It's not, there's a dynamic balance with Libra at best. Okay? It's a dynamic balance with Libra. Libra generation is where we acknowledged sexual offenses within the marriage. Pluto in Libra was when we acknowledged a sex offense within the marriage, where the rules were set for when you can complain about sexual harassment, also within marriage or within settings of work or stuff like that, but also within marriage. Because Pluto is taboo and Libra is balancing things. Okay? Libra is about accommodating and so on and so forth, but when you do it with sexuality to the point where there's no self, it harms the relationship, okay? Because the ball is rolling from one side of the scale to the other side of the scale, so people both realize these implications. Both women realized, if I'm people pleasing, if I say yes, no, maybe, if it's not yes, no, maybe, then there's a problem, because I cannot have good relations, so good sexual health as well. Okay, all the yeast and the yeast infection. What is yeast infection? That's exactly these things. It doesn't have to be rape. Also, even self-pleasure. Okay, I know this because that was my job, to teach people that it's also this. But yeah, that's what I did after the meeting. Yeah, but people learn about, okay, saying yes, no, maybe what we want, and then they begin to heal candida, they begin to heal yeast infection, they begin to heal in general. I had a woman that was in risk of being murdered. Suddenly, even the welfare started to work for her. It's the inner stuff, okay? It's true. Then men I get like, I want that too. Okay, try to see how it works with your own system there. And then they discovered what they thought was erectile dysfunction is actually for nine, if it's not the cold, and sometimes it's the cold, which I wish upon you to never experience. But if it's not the cold, it's sometimes because you have sex with a partner, man or woman, they're not ready. They have a thought in mind, intrusive thought or whatnot. Poof, if you are tuned, poof, it's not erectile dysfunction, it's actually functioning. You discover wonderful things. But the thing is, at the very essence, that you have to be on that equity. And Lilith is very much about, it's almost like Sedna, being free in a relation. Both women, but also men. Okay? So also the new relationships that are going to arrive are opening up the Pandora box of Lilith. And it takes, processing. And you might see that is again, depending on what the chart when you meet this person, depending on what the chart when things develop, you might see that you have a chance to purge trauma, and also that you can, when you fall back to this person. When you move forward in your life, you're gonna have to do it the Lilith way, both of you. Otherwise, it breaks up. And yes, when Lilith relationships, they break up because it was something to do with willing consent. It's not why when I did season Water Expands Upon Cool in season 2, okay, before I do season 2, I will make Essence of Desire. And you think, Shirley, what's Essence of Desire? To murder people? It's like, well, it's the murder because of the cold harvests on the sun and the moon tries to interfere with the balance. In the second decan of Taurus, you have the Yoni Lingam, this is according to Austin Coppock, the balance of work and rest. Willing consent. This is what orgasm is. This is where success that you are actually fulfilled by is. All of these things that tie together. Okay? This is the antidote, this essence of desire. To go from evolution to that point, from that scorpionic point to this Taurian. But the number of this decan, I think, is 6. So the eclipse is eclipsing. Okay, it's a fated event. You're going to change your perspective. It's powerful. But I want you to remember that the success of your relationship, and I mean success, the second decade of Taurian success, it's a Libra eclipse. But the Rahu is closer to Taurus. And is out of out of people pleasing, to be yourself. Give your true self. Who are you with? That's success. That's also orgasm. Okay? So you go from that point of view to the Rahu, and the level at which, I don't know, the level at which both of you will succeed to do that is the level of joy and fulfilling success you have both in your personal lives and your relationships. It's ultimate relationship teaching, yes. Of course, the juxtapositions are juxtapositions. when you because the meant to be. There's a holding of extremes here now. Pluto is in a bisextile with Neptune and Uranus, but Rahu is closer to Neptune. Okay, and Jupiter that rules Neptune and Saturn is in 21 degree Gemini, kind of a plus loosely applying to square Neptune. So there are a lot of there's a lot of surrender needed in the process. When I was yes, Me Too veterans, I was laughing at myself because I said, what do I want? A willing consent, a sovereignty, autonomy, blah blah blah. How do I do it? I completely surrender my whole being and become that. Okay. Okay. It's like you know. It's that dissonance. It's that dissonance. Okay? What do I do? But after I achieve that, well, I dissolve in pleasure. That's very. When I was homeless, I had the same thing because it was like, what do I want? A house. What do I do when I have a house? Travel. But you have to have a house to return to for you to enjoy your traveling. And you need to travel for you to enjoy your home. For the last days, I did something that hopefully I never do because I didn't leave enough money to public transportation for the last days of the month. It is changing, but I think that on a global level, the World Economic Forum may have representatives that now consider mitigating restrictions on freedom of movement under any circumstances, including a world war and pandemic. She wants to move. Anyway, so yes, someone's Lilith being Raoud. And I also am having Lilith being Raoud. So yes, I wanted to bring this teaching to you with the good teaching, okay, with the optimistic teaching, with the powerful optimistic teaching, so you have something to go along the way. Because if you can do it together, you will. If it's not the best for you to do it together, you do it with someone else. And the tendency to lean back is here. But what needs to be released is also for this equity. That both people, regardless of gender, are not above you, not beneath you, but beside you. And this is something as humanity, we don't remember a time where we did. Okay? We had, the woman is the moon to the sun, or the man is the moon to the sun. We never had a time where we did two shining stars enjoy life together. Okay? And it's in the second house. This is teaching, I don't remember for the teachers, also Lada Duncheva, it was about latent houses. And that teaching of relationship had to do also with the ego, where in the second house, we establish the remediation for our conflicting egos. Okay, with two shining stars, it is the sun. And this is the ability to see another sun shines. If you have it within the parents, you'll have it within the children. And then children will grow to that. That entails a lot. That entails making money from art, or making sure that you are able to live and travel as artists independently of patronage, which is incestual relationship, which is rape, torture, expandable children, espionage. And politicians, because all of them are basically what they want from why all of them are so charming and so talented and so musical and so talented in acting. That's what they have to do. uh, because they're artists in essence. They're artists. And philosophers and thinkers and scientists and everything. And this is the second house is our confidence, our values, but also our skills, where we can appreciate for one another's individual shine. And when we are confident, it's not a problem. One good planet for this is Regulus. We don't have anything on Regulus, but Regulus is a great remediatory for these things. Okay, and I take it from Caitlin Kopok, the patrilineage. He worked on the patrilineage. And again, when you abolish this practice of expandable children, it's no problem, because then there's nothing bad when men meet together. Same with patrilineage. Okay, you can listen to Jaguar Wright because she has some wisdom about this. On a world level is exactly, absolutely the same. If women had to, or people had to, when they escape violence, they had to wait for a world war so that they can get their credit card without a change in the address where somebody could look it up in the government, so the children not kidnapped, then there would be a world war. It's very simple. Nature corrects for itself. You can say God, you can say this nature, very nature. Okay, somebody needs it. Necessity. Why is Venus mother of necessity? Because necessity what creates innovation, Aries. The triple face ruled by that decree. Who's the triple faces? Algo. All our money, cult and outside cult, Algo is better per se. The currencies, all the elections, X.com. X.com is currency. It's not social media. It's the beginning of the digital credit score. The social credit score. That's what's, it doesn't matter what Elon wants. Why Elite allows X.com is that. Launched on Beta per se. To say that it backfires, it's understatement. What happened after Second World War when Uranus was on Beta per se? Women got right to vote and a bank account. Because on the scale, okay, for when woman is free, okay, a man is more free because she doesn't see you as the ATM. And also, if he votes badly, then she can vote for herself, for what is important to her. Okay, this gave a lot of longevity to men. It's challenging psychologically to deal with that change. Also for women. And so it took 2 generations of men. And in essence, when we talk about birthing, conception, labor, and birthing, which affects, okay, the worst horrors that we see is when even man, okay, doesn't have good relation with the mother figure. It usually happens when she was not sovereign or loved by the husband. Okay, not and then of course there are women who go to like steal the sperm and stuff like that. It's horror for everyone. But be careful whether it started from the moon or started from the sun. But I recently watched a podcast when they talked about the child trafficking ring that was of boys, and said all the boys that were seduced that way, so Ketu weren't sold, they did not have a strong father figure present. And I know from Me Too veterans, some of them even had father figures present, very strong. But when the father died, then that happened. And some people, when they have a father was missing, can be father missing, can also be father was a career person, and he was not with the children. He was providing for the children, but was not all day long, not with the children. This is also a form of father figure missing. And that can be on a Neptunian level. Okay? Father is a distant dream. There is ideation, evaluation, and so on and so forth. And then there are cases where the parents divorce and the father is not in contact for various reasons. It has the old worldview. Someone is at home, someone is working, whether it's man or woman, has effect. I'm not saying it's impossible to recover, but at least to be aware. There's no one way of living life, but to be aware that that moon or that sun will be needed to be tended to. And you see it in the chart as well for when children born. So, so on world level, yes, we're seeing the accumulation of this. In essence, we wish to not have to have world wars to have wealth redistribution. Okay, I watched today a sort of priest or guru, African, celebrated in September, which is the first rain, and he talked about Virgo, okay, virginal beauty, and immediately there was something about him that I didn't like. And it's not a place to throw false accusations or this or true accusations. I don't know, but it's not the place. What I'm talking is even deeper. And this is the fact that when you have one such spiritual figure and all the kids go to, and all your tribe is infused with, and nobody talks, okay? Like the kibbutz, okay? How long will it take before your entire tribe invited? Why? Because for the children, in a world war, maybe they will die. Hopefully not kidnapped and enslaved by other tribes. But in the family, in the tribe, Both cases are horrid. This is why Deneb Al-Gadi sextile so called, because Deneb Al-Gadi, everybody needs to be equal. Everybody needs to have this, to have that. But you can't do it with sex. Because there's something that balances, there's something about the sexual system that balances, and you have to have this friction and this tension for the will and consent, and it tells you, okay, if people not agreeing to have sex with each other, something's going on. Maybe something in nature, maybe impending disaster, maybe we need not to have more children right now, maybe we need to do something else, even as community. But if you don't listen for this intelligence, you don't know. Okay, there's the reason why we care about these things, the reason why sexual boundary violations is so harming to the human psyche. It has a role. Will and consent has a role, even naturally, it has a role in our well-being as people, as sovereigns, but also as society. And it challenges for how we see wealth redistribution. It's meant to, it's a tension. Sometimes, if we, we need to reconsider our attractions, okay? And this is where then a Balgadi can be very useful. It's the outcast, it's the one to think about technology. If you don't fit like this, then you can fit like that, or something like that. And how we work on our relations. But in essence, there has to be willing consent. You don't do population, more children, less, don't rape the wife, then we have more children. Yes, then you get invented double time, you will have double time the loss and double time the humiliation, which you think is feminine. 200 million Russians died in the Second World War. And they died by Hitler. I rest my case. But if you even set intention for to have respect for life and to have equity and to tend to the balancing of these things with grace, then very likely you're going to have good relations. Okay, this eclipse doesn't denote the quality of entire all human relations that's going to be formed. But Lilith's going to play a huge role, and Neptune here can remind you of the soul essence, can remind you of the dream that you are, the lunar dream, the fertile creation, and so on, and can remind you of magic that you've long forgotten. If you could also see your past, because the moon is with Ketu, in a new light, which is very powerful. I've had experience like this, and this is beyond powerful. And has a sense of purging and recovery that's coming with that, which is just amazing. There are a lot of tensions, there are hidden tensions. It looks like it's all in the blue, all trines and sextiles. No, Mars is square in this eclipse. Jupiter is a planet to square Saturn. Is a planet to square, I'm sorry. Releasing from square to Saturn, a planet to square Neptune. Okay, slowly. But it is. Okay, so that being said, there is a lot of protection and divine well-being to smooth over a lot of the friction, which can allow you to come, if you come out of people pleasing, to state your case. And you probably have a case. Whichever side, wherever you are, probably have a case. It's worth listening to for whichever side you are of the balancing act of the scales. Okay. So yes, I've already talked about eclipse in Libra. This was just pinpointing Ketu relationships because this coming on strong. And I understand is both the place where you put the biggest fight and the place where you have to let go and you're all the most generous. And so for the tensions that can create, okay, Venus in Scorpio is in no way compromising of values, okay? So we have to, but values here are transformed as well. So we'll see what the eclipse brings. Venus Scorpio is, people even compare it to the journey of Persephone or the journey of Inanna through the underworld and so on. And yes, that can be, but Venus is also after Libra, after she tried to balance things. If that doesn't work, she goes Scorpio on it. She's already in Scorpio, okay? But there is still grace and there is still protection to it. She is ruled by a certain friction that she's also sent to remediate. And it's just the right amount of depth that we need to have that Lilith conversation, because Venus has conviction. And okay, if the sea that one has to cross over, when you begin to swim, there are the waves. So you cross over the waves, then you can swim, smooth sailing. And if that sea, you see what consists of that sea, what the foam that throws at you, you see what is the, yes, kind of the garbage of the psyche, okay? And what is the garbage of the psyche? What did we have to cross in order to be able to dance together, to swim together, to be cozy together? What did we have to cross? And I advise you to look at those initial waves because those are the things that you've smoothed over, because your soul, especially with Ketu, your soul essence found each other and you smoothed that over. And ask the question of how you smoothed that over. If you think that you got rid of your values, you did not, because this is Lilith. What were you smoothing over? What waves were you just cross that wave, cross that wave, cross that wave, cross that wave, hug? Or the hag, I don't know. But in Hebrew, when there was the 7th of October, I was in the airport and there was the advertisement, and it says to, yes, I would say it in Hebrew, otherwise I lose the joke. It said, Lechabek et anshe habitachon, which means basically to hug the security people, which is also intelligence. And I immediately, we immediately, hug. And hug in Hebrew is the hag. So the international court for world wars. So that was the hug. And so, what did you think about what the people do? We'll say, oh, what they did in Gaza, what they did, what they did to women, what they did to children, what they did in secret societies. What they did does not even have to do with intelligence, of how many intelligence people because they found out a way to get the truth without torture. But you have to actually defend the security of the citizens, security of the state, the security of the citizens of the state. That's intelligence. That's Shiltei Biyun. That's just intelligence. Okay. So they end up in Hague. what happened if there's a war in Netherlands? Okay, maybe Singapore. I don't know. So let me take you to Indonesia. Anyway, so yes, if I try to generalize it to the world, but with these Ketu relationships, this is what you have to know, okay? That it's Ketu relationships. It's not Rahu is strong, but it's strong dreamlike, okay? It is to build that dream. You still have to go the Lilith way, and you're purging something of the old Lilith ways in your life. Okay, you could be purging the trauma, but something that's not on the Lilithesque, okay, is poofing out. But also, if you have been in equity, okay, let's say you've been in equity, you two are working people and you have good salaries, and you have distinct homes or distinct bank accounts, whatever, okay, what are you invested in? You might be purging the relationship because of that. There's another layer, a deeper layer that you go into, okay, for this one. When I was 10 years friendship with someone, it's pretty Lilithesque, okay? So they were heading to their thing, I was doing for my thing, and so on. They began to channel, and they had this. Suddenly, the religion suddenly came between us. I'm like, they were not super religious. Nothing came between us. We could think completely different things, and we would enjoy that. We had good discussions. When it came to this religious, like, it's a very weird thing, especially with I'm possibilionist, so I'm kind of like the Mark Rutte of religion, okay, minus the expendable children. Did religion, that religion, okay, let's try this, let's try that. If that is really working, it's all divine, you know. So I didn't understand how somebody could be fighting with me about religion. It's like fighting the waters, you know, for no real, you know. It's not like, it's not to play the cards. It's just like, okay, but that happened, and so that could be. I'm not saying it was such a thing, but that could be a portion of this Lilith. Okay, you're very cool with each other. Something comes up, and you're like, okay, we're not cool on that one, and that creates like a big crisis. Okay, so that's the sort of thing that you can also predict with this Libra thing. Okay, what's not in alignment, what doesn't fit, it will be poofed out. But also when something new comes back, is something of the old that you have Lilith issues to work through. Okay, and and I remind you, okay, Lilith issues to work through is something that you're learning a new form of equity. To say it's going to be smoothing out the waters is not for nothing. That when I said when boundaries in sexuality are not good, it affects entire psyche. So when you are establishing that, you understand what you are purging is entire psyche affected. Okay? And you cannot act out on each other with this one. Okay? If you would lose your relationship, of course, you would lose your relationship with Venu Mercury. You could also lose your life. Okay? And this is not telling me the man, the woman, it's both. Because also Mars is ruled by this eclipse, which is ruled by Venus, which is ruling, okay, the ruler, okay. All these ways in which even with people practice kinky relationships, if in essence there's no respect, I want to give you actually example for someone I know that was in Kinky group, and for discussion was again the discussion whenever something is in Libra we have again, because Libra rules the kidneys and the Amarita, okay, so the fluid that comes, not just piss, something mixed with that because it's the same. And then there was one person in the group was a man, and he was arguing with woman about what her consecration tastes like, or what is it. It's like, okay, first of all, you're exposing something. And secondly, you say science knows about you more than you. What is science? Your secret society's consecration cults that interfere in the. Of course, it is just peace if you don't allow for Amarita to flow. Now, what balances for the kidneys, Libra, is Phyllis. You just exposed your entire psyche for this argument. You're a fake dom. Okay? You're a fake dom. It was leader of the community. You're a fake dom. People talk, why are you trying to argue like this? And I tell you, we're gonna have a lot such conversation in kinky societies, a lot such conversation. Okay, for people are if they are going to act like this person, they will lose all of the relationship or the sexuality. Can be very disempowering for them. Okay, also you have to think for yourself, because you know you will go to the doctor will treat you like this. What will you do? And you will go to the doctor. Okay, round Neptune, Saturn, Pisces, Jupiter, Gemini, applied medicine, the plenty things that you try to do in the world. You want to think about what medicine are you advocating for. Because when you do stuff like that, the scales. So it's going to be very weird. We're going to have a lot of hot topics, but women can also be just in that way. Okay, it's just the same. It's the same. But men, I like children. Okay, why do you sleep with men? We're gonna, and we will be having these conversations too. And that is a part of what we're approaching. Okay, the sun, the moon. Okay, the stupid things that we do in the name of intelligence, sun, and intelligence, and the atrocities that are done under the guise of care that are actually control. Purging those. Okay, but it's also, we have to give it grace, because mostly people are not aware that they're doing that. And we all have this both for the soul and for the moon. And this is also important. So grace is very important with this eclipse. And the understanding that most of these atrocities are not aware is important. Sometimes people are just aware and it's just dumb fuckery. But if they are aware, they are dumb, and then they are not aware because they are dumb. Okay, but mostly they're not aware, and that is something to keep in mind, because we all are not aware, and we all can be dumb as well. So yeah, and this is what I have to say in general about this eclipse. Thank you for watching.